Datawrapper is a tool that you can use to create data visualizations to embed in your presentations or websites. In this tutorial, I'll walk you through the basic steps of creating, customizing, and publishing a graph using the free version of Datawrapper. We'll also look at how to embed a graph in a Canva presentation. First, you'll need to sign into your Datawrapper account. Then click Create New and select Chart. Datawrapper's interface is set up as a 4-stage process: upload data, check and describe, visualize, and publish and embed. Stage 1, upload data, gives you options to upload a spreadsheet, connect to a Google Sheet, or link to an external data source. Or you can simply copy and paste your data table into the window. I'm working with a small amount of data for this example, so I'll use the copy-paste option. My data represents the number of scholarly publications on artificial intelligence across 15 countries in 2016 and 2024, and lists the increase in each country. After pasting in your data, click Proceed to go to Stage 2, Check and Describe. Here, Datawrapper shows you how it's ingested your data in the form of a table. Check to be sure it meets your expectations. Datawrapper will flag problems in the data by showing them as red cells. This data looks good, so let's proceed to Stage 3, Visualize. You can return to earlier steps at any point in the process. Stage 3 is broken out into 4 tabs: Chart Type, Refine, Annotate, and Layout. Begin by selecting a chart type. You might want to preview a few options to find one that will help your audience understand the point you want to make with your data. I'm going to choose Range Plot for this graph. If your graph seems garbled, you can click Transpose the Data to see if you get a better result. When you're ready, click Proceed or click on the Refine tab. On the Refine tab, you can start customizing the graph's appearance. I won't show you every option, but I'll point out some of the main ones. First, you can adjust the range of data shown in your graph. Mine is showing the full range, 2016 to 2024, so I'll leave it as is. You can also adjust the alignment of the labels using the options Left, Right, and Direct. Turning on the Show Values option lets you decide which numbers you want to be visible on your graph. Turning on the Show Color legend lets you add a color key to your graph. You also have several options for customizing how information is displayed on the axes of the graph. For this range plot, I can change the axis range or the number format. I can also customize the grid lines. For example, if I want labeled grid lines to appear at 0, 50,000, and 100,000 instead of 20,000, 40,000, and so forth, I can type in those numbers here, separated by commas. For now, I'll keep the default grid lines. Under Appearance, you can change the colors of the graph points and lines. I'll select darker colors for my start and end points for better visibility. For the range lines, the colors can be fixed, gradient, or pick up on the colors of the start and end points. I'm going to choose Fixed and select a dark gray. Finally, the sorting and grouping options let you choose different ways to sort the data shown in your graph. For my range plot, I can sort by start values, end values, difference, or percentage change. Or I can reverse the order of the rows. I'm happy with the original order from my data table, so I'll stick with that. When you're finished refining, click Proceed or the Annotate tab to continue. The Annotate tab is where you can add text to your graph. In the title field, type the title of your graph. I'm calling mine Increase in Scholarly Publications on Artificial Intelligence 2016 to 2024. You can add a description by typing in the description field. The description will appear near the top of your graph, like this. The Notes field is useful for adding a note at the bottom of your graph. I'll copy my description into the Notes field just so you can see what that would look like. And now I'll delete that note. In the Data Source field, you can add a credit line for your data source to appear at the bottom of your graph. Adding a URL in the next field, Link to Data Source, will hyperlink your data source line to that URL. Add a byline if you want to credit yourself or someone else as the creator of the chart. There's also a space to add alt text for screen readers to make your chart more accessible. Highlight Elements lets you choose labels or elements on your graph to emphasize. For example, if I select United States from the drop-down list, the corresponding label on my graph changes to boldface. To add notes or additional labels on your graph, click Add a Text Annotation. Then click and drag to create a text box in the area where you want the note to appear. Type in your annotation. You can change the type size, color, and other aspects of its appearance. Click Highlight Range if you'd like to highlight a certain range of data within your graph. Then click and drag on your graph to select that range. You'll see the area highlighted in gray. For this range plot, I don't need to highlight a range, so I'll delete the highlight by clicking the trash icon. We're almost done with stage 3, Visualize. The last tab in this stage is Layout. For this chart, I'm going to stick with most of the default layout options, but there are a couple of options you'll want to be aware of. Under Footer, you can see that the Data Download option is turned on by default. This option controls the link in your chart footer that says Get the Data, and it allows your audience to download the version of the data that you uploaded for your chart. This is useful for accessibility and transparency. However, if you don't want to share your version of the data, you can turn this option off and the Get the Data link will disappear. I'm going to leave it on for now. You can turn on Embed Link if you want your audience to have a link to embed your graph in other places, and you can turn on Share buttons to enable your audience to easily share your graph on social media. Okay, we're finished with stage 3. Click Proceed to continue to stage 4, Publish and Embed. Remember, you can go back to any of the earlier steps at any time if you want to make changes. If you're satisfied with your graph, click Publish Now. Doing so will publish your chart in Datawrapper and provide a visualization URL that you can embed in your presentation or web page to make your chart visible to others. You can also download a PNG file if you just want a static chart to insert in a document or slide. But embedding with a link is preferable because it will allow you to automatically update your slides later. Now, imagine that you want to go back to your chart and make changes after it's gone live. For example, you want to update the data with more recent findings or change the chart's appearance. Simply go back to any of the previous tabs to make those changes. For example, let's go back to stage 3, Visualize. Say I've decided I want my chart to have a cleaner look, and I've realized I really need to show the percentage change for each country rather than both the start and end values. And now that I've made that change, my audience doesn't need the text annotation anymore, so I can delete that. When you're finished updating, go back to Publish and Embed and click Republish. You can see that the visualization link gets updated here. Any place that you embedded your original visualization link will now automatically redirect to this link so that your audience will see the updated version of your graph. This is great for any graph in which you want to keep updating the data over time. Before we wrap up, let's take a quick look at how you can embed your graph in a Canva presentation. I've opened a Canva presentation to a blank slide here. Go to Apps, and then in the search bar, search the word Embed. Select the Embed app. Paste in the visualization link for your Datawrapper graph. Then select Add to Design. The graph will appear in your slide and you can resize, move it, style it, just as you would any element in Canva. Now watch what happens when I go back to Datawrapper and update this graph. I'll make a change to the title and republish. You can see that the visualization link has been updated here. Now let's see what happens when I go back to my Canva presentation. I don't need to update the link I embedded. All I need to do is refresh the page or reopen the presentation. The updated chart is now appearing in my slide. I hope this walkthrough has been helpful to you. Now you know the basics of creating and customizing charts with Datawrapper, and you're on your way to saving time in updating your presentations.